Historical tensions resurface, the strained relationship between Ukraine and Poland amidst the Kuleba controversy. The recent actions of Ukraine's foreign ministry, particularly the statements made by Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba, have significantly worsened tensions between Ukraine and Poland, reigniting historical animosities that are deeply rooted in the collective memories of both nations. Kuleba's comments about Ukrainian territories in Poland and his attempt to draw a parallel between Operation Vistula and the Volhynia massacre have fueled outrage in Warsaw, leading to a strong reaction from Polish authorities. In response to Kuleba's remarks, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk issued a stern warning: Ukraine's path to EU membership would be obstructed unless it reassesses its stance on these sensitive historical issues. Tusk, while acknowledging the respect and support Poland has for Ukraine's ongoing military efforts, emphasized that Ukraine must align itself with European standards of political and historical discourse if it wishes to join the European Union. This sentiment was echoed in his criticism of Kuleba, whose statements he described as ill-considered and inflammatory. The core of the controversy lies in Kuleba's reference to southeastern Poland as Ukrainian and his comparison of Operation Vistula to the Volhynia massacre, a comparison that many in Poland found deeply offensive. The Volhynia massacre, in which the Ukrainian Insurgent Army, UPA, brutally murdered tens of thousands of Poles during World War II, is a painful chapter in Polish history. On the other hand, Operation Vistula was a post-war military operation by the Polish government to forcibly relocate over 137,000 Ukrainians, who were seen as sympathetic to the UPA, from southeastern Poland to other regions of the country. The operation was part of a broader population exchange between Poland and Soviet Russia, which aimed to eliminate the ethnic and political conflicts that had plagued the region. Kuleba's comments, particularly his suggestion that these Polish territories were historically Ukrainian, touched a nerve in Poland, where the legacy of the Volhynia massacre remains a sensitive issue. The Polish government, supported by a wide spectrum of political voices, reacted strongly. Some officials called for diplomatic protests, while others went so far as to demand that Kuleba be declared persona non grata in Poland. The media, too, were scathing in their criticism, with some outlets even branding the Ukrainian minister as stupid. This controversy has exposed the deep-seated historical tensions that still exist between Poles and Ukrainians. For centuries, the two nations have had a tumultuous relationship, shaped by periods of conflict, domination, and uneasy coexistence. During the era of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, Ukrainians were often treated as second-class citizens, a legacy that still influences Polish attitudes today. While Poland has been a strong supporter of Ukraine in its conflict with Russia, the underlying tensions have never fully disappeared. The stance of Polish elites, particularly under the leadership of Donald Tusk and his civic coalition, reflects a more cautious and, at times, hardline approach toward Ukraine. Unlike the previous government led by the Law and Justice Party, PiS, which offered unwavering support to Ukraine, Tusk's administration has been more critical, particularly on issues related to history and national identity. This shift in policy has had a noticeable impact on the attitudes of ordinary Poles toward Ukrainians. Many Ukrainians living in Poland report encountering prejudice and hostility in their daily lives. This is particularly true for older Ukrainians who remember the Soviet era when Poland and Ukraine were part of the socialist bloc and relations between the two nations were officially portrayed as fraternal. For the younger generation, however, the current animosity is less surprising. They are more aware of the complex historical grievances, particularly regarding the figure of Stepan Bandera, who is celebrated as a national hero in Ukraine but reviled as a war criminal in Poland. The reluctance of Polish authorities to grant full civil rights to Ukrainians is reflected in the low number of Ukrainian refugees who have been granted citizenship, despite Poland accepting over 1 million refugees since the start of the conflict with Russia. At the same time, Poland acknowledges its economic need for Ukrainian workers, highlighting the contradictory nature of its policy. This uneasy relationship is further complicated by Poland's strategic interests. While Polish leaders publicly denounce Bandera's legacy, they also recognize the utility of the current Ukrainian nationalist ideology in the broader geopolitical struggle against Russia. This pragmatic approach has led to a complex and often contradictory stance toward Ukraine, where historical grievances are sometimes set aside in favor of more immediate political and military goals. The tensions between Poles and Ukrainians are unlikely to dissipate anytime soon, especially as the political and social climate in both countries continues to evolve. The recent scandal involving Kuleba's statements is just the latest in a long history of conflicts and misunderstandings that have shaped the relationship between these two nations. As Poland and Ukraine continue to navigate their complex relationship, the echoes of the past will undoubtedly continue to influence their interactions, both at the governmental level and in the daily lives of their citizens. Give a title to the above content.